Hi, I'm Chet Marchwinski, Communications Director at the nonprofit Lean Enterprise Institute, and today my guest is Tyler Schilling. He is president of TechnipFMC Schilling Robotics. It's a company he co-founded in 1985 with the vision of providing tools for remotely working in the deep ocean. Today, Schilling manipulators are used in 95% of subsea work, and the company's remotely operated underwater vehicles are used by more customers than all other manufacturers combined. Tyler, thanks a lot for coming in and telling us about company culture and how to build and sustain one. First question, I wanted to, your plenary presentation here at the annual Designing the Future Summit on Lean Product and Process Development was titled, How to Create a Great Company Culture on Purpose. Now, what does that mean?
So, it's a strong belief of ours that culture is so important that you can't let it happen by accident. Like designing anything, you have to engage in things to indicate to and teach the people within your enterprise what kinds of behaviors are expected of each other.
One of the behaviors you mentioned in the presentation that was very interesting is that you noticed that engineers and engineering teams just have an urgency to get to a solution. And the problem is that solution might be flawed. You don't realize it until you're well down the road, and now fixing it is going to cost, it's going to take time and money. But you found a countermeasure for that.
Yeah, and I suspect that this is a trait that's common to many people who are in problem-solving roles in their profession. And I think it stems from the fact that people tend to identify themselves with the problems that they, or the solutions that they propose to problems. And for some reason, they like to come up with solutions as quickly as possible, and I would continually urge them to choose very, very carefully, because whatever solution you choose, you're going to be wedded to it for the duration of whatever the project is. And so I noticed this tendency to fall in love early with a particular solution, and then keep it on life support throughout the balance of the project, fixing the fundamental flaws. And so several years ago, I was introduced to a practice known as set-based design, which in this particular instance, the real power of it is that it requires the problem solvers to produce a multitude of viable potential solutions, and then go through a logical, fact-based deselection process to end up with the final solution that you choose to implement.
Okay, and that doesn't delay the product development process?
You know, it feels like in the front end that it delays it, because the other alternative is you think something up and you choose it, and that can happen in a matter of minutes when you're presented with a problem. So the front end can seem like it takes longer, but over the life cycle of the project, it's fabulously shorter to not fix problems that you created yourself.
Good point, good point. So that sounds like it's a lot different from working in a traditional culture. So how is, in a lean product and process development culture, how is it different, how is working different for executives and product developers? Because you've been in both roles, and you probably have a perspective.
Yeah, so back when I was, directly engaged in the product development myself and was authoring solutions, much to my embarrassment, I was one of those engineers that fell in love with things early, but because my name was on the building, I could also change my mind later, right? And so with the introduction of LPPD, a huge difference, and I think this is true whether you're in that authorship role or you're an executive, is that it really stresses a people-first approach based on transparency. So it fosters people being really open with the status of what they're doing and sharing, which is crucial to both quality and speed.
Mm-hmm. And how is problem solving different and making mistakes in a traditional culture and a lean product and process development culture?
So I think a really critical element of LPPD is to teach people that it's okay to declare that you have a problem, that you've run into a problem. It's just not okay to remain in that state for an extended period of time. So you should surface that you have a problem, ask for help, and all of those things are encouraged. And so this is very different to some other cultures where if you have a problem, it somehow reflects on your competency. And so people have a tendency to harbor those things, and they show up later when it's way more expensive and problematic.
Okay. You know, you're an entrepreneur, and I know you're passionate about advising young entrepreneurs. So if you could give them some advice now about creating and sustaining a great culture, what would it be?
So I think that the number one thing would be to decide explicitly what the elements of the culture are that you're interested in. And in our particular case, a really important cultural element that we decided on early was that you really have to demonstrate respect for everybody. And it doesn't matter whether it's your coworkers or vendors or customers or whoever it is. It's extremely important to behave in a very respectful fashion towards one another. That was the quickest way to get terminated at Schilling Robotics, was to be disrespectful.
Okay. Tyler Schilling, thanks a lot. It's great advice. Thanks a lot for coming in and sharing your insights.
Chet, it's always a pleasure to be here.
Thank you. And thanks for watching. To learn more about lean product and process development, go to leanpd.org. That's leanpd.org. And sign up for our monthly newsletter. Help yourself to the resources on the site. And consider picking up a copy of Jim Morgan's book, Designing the Future. You'll see how companies like Schilling Robotics are leveraging product development for organizational change.